that's right, bizarro world. That is definitely what we live in. Day in and day out, you cannot keep up with everything that is happening, no matter how hard somebody tries. I am the perfect example of that. So what did I do this weekend? I said, oh, screw it. I just said, I gotta do something different this weekend. So I rode my bike in the backyard, my new electric bike. Didn't fall off yet, so, I don't know whether I should go ahead and just let myself fall off so I can say I've fallen off and I can get up, or what exactly I should do. But anyways, and then I was doing some work in my backyard. I planted a little patch of lavender and rosemary. Looks lovely. I hope it'll be there next week. I hope it'll be there the week after, and it'll continue growing. But, I was rather proud of myself. So, today is election eve of the runoff election for 3 offices in our area. So 3 offices. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Want to talk about David Stumbo and his health update. Did correspond with him yesterday afternoon, so I got a couple things to tell you on that. Also, childhood obesity and what the YMCA is doing on a national level and actually is doing on a smaller level right here in Greenwood. So, and what about M&Ms? Have you heard the new colors that are no longer going to be for M&Ms? Have you heard about this? They just keep working it and working it. And Sunday night, I went to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is that right? Yes, Raiders of the Lost Ark turns, 45 years old. And we got to see it here on those throwback videos, movies that they do at Premier Theaters. Boy, I tell you what, we got to talk about that. Have you seen any bears? I happen to have seen a trail cam that shows that there are bears in those woods, folks. So I'll be interested to hear if anybody else has seen or heard of any other bear sightings right here in Greenwood. And well, we may talk a little bit about that topic, too. I'm not sure. But that's a lot right there to talk about. So let's get started first by the weather. It is lovely outside there. Just FYI, it is lovely out there. If you got any comments about the show this morning, I'd love to have your input. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. Give me a ring. You can call me or you can text me. We are live on Facebook right now, so at WCRS Radio. So if you want to see Penny and I in matching outfits, well, almost. Very close. I mean, we're styling here this morning. We've got our Palmetto shirts on. Let's just say that. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But right now, already 80 degrees outside here in Greenwood, South Carolina. Feels like 86 degrees. We are looking for a high today of 89 degrees and a low of 72. So partly cloudy skies this morning will give way to occasional showers during the afternoon. High of 89, chance of rain about 40%. Tuesday comes in with a high of 87, low of 64, and a 15% chance of rain, so there'll be some partly sunny skies. Wednesday is a high of 87, low of 66. Plentiful sunshine. Thursday is pretty much of a ditto day. And Friday, high of 88, low of 72. But we do have some pretty good possibilities, about 55% chance of showers right now. So Saturday is partly cloudy. Sunday is 95 degrees with a 20% chance of showers. So that's kind of how the week shapes up. Let's just check out Saturday, the 4th of July. Right now, they're saying it's going to be hot here in Greenwood. High of 94, low of 71. And about some 30% chance of showers. So that's a little bit about what we've got going on for weather here in our area. Not bad, not bad. Probably going to have to do a little watering, maybe if you haven't had any water out there, you may need to water a little bit on your flowers, but looks for flowers and vegetables. Boy, I tell you what, everybody is getting into growing food, aren't we? Everybody I talk to, well, I was eating my tomatoes this weekend. Or, well, I've got cucumbers, I've got beans, I've got, it's really great. And you know why it's great? Because we as people have decided to get responsible about our food. So when we're looking at food, we are starting to see some of these things, and I think it's terrific. I want to remind you that last week we did have Anthony Price on, and we talked about brain health and how you can help stave off some of the deterioration that we have in the past just considered there's no hope. Well, now, according to Anthony, there is hope if we take the steps to do what's necessary. Whew, I think I'm going to sneeze. So, yes, hold on here. Yes, I did sneeze. Sorry. Excuse me. All right. So, let's see. Somebody just made a comment here on Facebook Live. I hope we don't have to start hunting for food. I have no idea where little Debbies live. Is that the truth? Yeah, do little Debbies grow on trees, or do they grow on bushes, or can you order those through the internet to plant in your backyard? I'd like to order a little gingerbread, the gingerbread boys. Yes, I'd like to order those. I kind of like gingerbread boys, so, that would be kind of cool, those gingerbread ones. All right, so I wanted to go over that today is the day that you need to make up your mind because you need to vote tomorrow. Now, logic for most everybody is if you went out and voted in the primary election, you feel you've done your part, right? You feel like I shouldn't have to vote anymore. I voted one time. And there's the other section of people that just didn't make it by the polls. And so they go, I should vote, but I probably can't. Well, you know what? You can. In a runoff election, anybody can vote. So whether you voted or not, you can vote. So you need to put it on your calendar of to-do things tomorrow, Tuesday, the 23rd, from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. The biggest thing, though, is runoff elections have lower participation. So because we have lower participation, fewer people are making the choice on who is going to be the Republican candidate. Now, I want you to think about that. Fewer people are making the choice on who is the candidate in the Republican, these are all Republicans, on the Republican side. So if you have a choice, a person that you say, well, maybe you're not 100% happy with them all. Who can be? But you can say, I would vote for this one if they're on the ballot. Well, guess what? If you don't go out and vote, your candidate may not be on the ballot. So that's why it's very important. Lower turnout for primary runoff elections are terrifically low. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if we would get out and vote and we would be able to say in the end, well, they weren't the ideal candidate, but I feel good about who I voted for. Yes, that would be good. And then follow it up in November with voting for the candidates or whoever you end up voting for. That is your right. But if you don't participate, you are not making your voice heard. And really, as far as I'm concerned, you have no right to bitch. That's it. So get out and vote. 7 in the morning to 7 at night. You do need ID. All the precincts will be open. By the way, this is a very expensive process to have all these precincts open and have people working at all of them. So please take advantage of this opportunity that is yours. Give it your all. So tomorrow is election day. We are... It's a privilege, and you need to take advantage of that privilege. Even if you're not totally sold on the candidates, and spend a little time finding out about them. In the governor's race, we are down to a runoff between Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette and Attorney General Alan Wilson, both endorsed, I might add, by President Trump. So what... There you go. You can't say, well, one or the other. Both are endorsed by President Trump. All right. So in the Attorney General's race, Senator Goldfinch is on one of the two Republicans down to the runoff. And David Stumbo, solicitor for the 8th Circuit, which is our circuit right here, is down to the runoff. So if you want to make a choice there, you've got to vote. All right. And the third option is Agriculture Commissioner. We have not had a change. I think it's in 25 years. So this is a big opportunity to make a change, to see a more active, maybe in agriculture, and we need a good commissioner that will protect and be an advocate for our farmers, the forestry, the whole 9 yards, everything. They're also the ones that do the testing of the foods across the state and anything to do with food, farming, and forestry. Ooh, I like that. Food, forestry, and forestry. How about that? Anyway, so this is an important position. You have two candidates for that, Cody Simpson, and Danny Ford. So we did have Cody Simpson on a pop-up interview with us. He was in studio last Monday. So that interview is on our website, WCRS1450am.net. It's also still on Facebook. So check those all out. Make sure you are ready to go. We have had David Stumbo. Most all of you know David Stumbo in our area. And we also have had both Alan Wilson and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette on several times. So if you need more information, one of the things you can do, you can check my interviews, or you can go on the internet and find out all different types of things about them. Now, on David Stumbo, Saturday morning, he said he woke up, and this was a big story all across social media, the news and everything, said he was not feeling well. And so his wife said, get yourself to the doctor. So he did go to the doctor. Doctor, out of a precaution, put him in the hospital. I do believe he is home. I was corresponding with him yesterday. He said he was enjoying celebrating Father's Day. Let's see. This was on Sunday. I am beyond grateful and feeling great today, spending today resting on Father's Day and celebrating my middle daughter's 18th birthday. So he says we're still on track and looking forward to a victory party on Tuesday night. And so if you would like to go to his victory party, it is going to be in Greenville. So that will be at the City Club of Greenville. And we hope you will join us to watch the live results and hear from David Stumbo, South Carolina's next Attorney General, is what the invitation says. So if you would like to take the trip up there for that, that should be a fun night right there. So that's what we got. And those are the candidates that are on the ballot. Should take you all of maybe 5 minutes to vote. But it is such an important decision. I hope that you will take the time to do it. All right. Now, moving on. We hear potentially joining us Tuesday morning, David Stumbo, and the Lieutenant Governor is going to join us one more time before election, before the, well, not before, it'll be during the day yesterday. All right. So now, I was watching one of my favorite Sunday morning shows, Sunday Morning. I like that show because it is such a balance. No, I didn't say it was balanced. I said it's such a balance of different things that are happening around the world and in our country. I mean, after all, that's where I found the story about the 250th time capsule. Many stories, but anyways, it kind of helps me find things for the show. Well, I have known that over here at our Greenwood Y, they've been doing a pilot program on childhood obesity. And then, pow, right there on Sunday morning, they do a big show about the YMCA and how they are fighting childhood obesity for a healthier, longer life. Do you know 1 in 5 children are obese? 1 in 5 children are obese today. In 1970, about 1 in 20 children were obese. Can you imagine this? 1 in 20 back in 1970. Today, 1 in 5. And that is from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Those are horrible statistics. When you would think we should be getting better, if 1 in 20 children in 1970, you would think that they should be getting better today. Well, guess what? They are not. They are not. In fact, things are worse. And there are multiple causes for the rise, including socioeconomic, environmental, and lifestyle factors. But when it comes to diet, figuring out what's healthy and what is not can be daunting. And I agree. Even I'm not a child. Well, maybe. But I think it's very hard. And you look at those labels, and I've got to digress here for a second. Jeff always struggled with his weight. And he struggled with his weight because when he was younger, he was very, very active, and he could eat whatever he wanted. As he got older and started sitting on his butt more, he thought he could still eat the number of intake, and yet the outtake was that his body got bigger and bigger. We all are familiar with this, right? Well, I would love Jeff. We would go label shopping when we'd go to the grocery store, and he'd pick up a box of Oreo cookies, and I don't know, it would say, I don't remember, 2 or 3 cookies was, I don't know, 80 calories, 100 calories, whatever it was. And he'd look at it, and he'd have the whole container in his hand. He goes, 100 calories for this whole container. Not bad, Ed. This was perpetual. He would do this all the time. He'd just read, it's 100 calories, and he'd think that was for the whole container. Well, I think probably we have a lot of people that look at it that way. They don't read portion size. So it says you look back at the label and you're like, yeah, that's not good. That's no good. And then it's like, so what am I going to eat today? And there is, in this story, there was a parent and her daughter. They're enrolled in, not here, but this is at another location, at the YMC's Healthy Way and Your Child program. And this is actually from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The program preaches getting healthy the old-fashioned way, eating right, exercising, and focuses on changing the environment and the habits of the entire family. You know, I think that is so true. If one person is struggling with their weight, right? And everybody, how many times have we all seen this? The mom is trying to lose a little weight, and she's fixing dinners, breakfast, whatever, and she's trying not to eat what she's fixing for everybody else. Well, and then she's trying to eat less, and everybody is eating, and it's very, very hard. We all know that. So it says getting healthy the old-fashioned way, eating right, exercising, and focuses on changing the environment and the habits of the entire family. And then they talk to these kids. And these kids are very, very smart because they've learned how to eat. In fact, one child says, highly hydrogenated oils, that's bad for you. In an age of powerful new weight loss drugs, including GLPs, not yet approved for children under 12, a crucial question remains: how do we prevent future generations from becoming obese in the first place? And in April, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary, who's no longer with them, said he would like to see Americans eating diets that emphasize protein, fruit, and vegetables, healthy fats and whole grains, and reduced highly processed foods. And he said, this is not a willpower program with our nation's kids. This is a problem with us putting highly addictive, highly chemicalized food in front of them. So their choices are not to eat healthy. And we're part of the problem because we're just, throw it in the microwave, there you go, we've had dinner now. Or you leave highly processed food sitting on the counter for their snacks when they come home, and they know no different. They know no different. They did a section where they were playing jingles from McDonald's, Burger King, all these different ones, and the kids could recognize them and tell you what food it was, even though they never said the name. So these are the things that are making it hard for our kids today. So I thought that it was a great story about fixing our system by starting with our children. And that if our children could get on the right track and begin to understand how to read the labels on things, how to realize moderation, how to realize that you don't want to eat some of these things. And then the other key piece to it is getting active, exercising, running around. They have all kinds of exercise programs for the whole family to get out and do. And they play games, they do all this kind of stuff, and it's all in the guise of getting healthy, but it's teaching them about a lifestyle for the future. So this is where this program could be a really good future program to teach our program and to teach adults how to help teach your children how to eat healthy. The problem is it takes more than a minute to do it. And that's where we as a society have become so convenience-oriented that we don't realize that taking that extra 5 or 10 minutes chopping, cutting, using fresh vegetables or local from the farmer's market or growing some of your own, all these things create habits for a lifetime. But the problem is, I think for a lot of us, we have gone into that convenience, wanting things convenient too. I know I fix dinner for myself most every night. But some nights I just go, I could just pull something out of the freezer and throw it in there, and then I sit there for a second and I look at the label and I go, no, got to be more desperate than I am tonight. Have you ever done that? Have you ever taken you want a waffle and you want to fall off the wagon and then you go, nah, okay, it's going to take me 5 minutes to do this. Because I have Penny and because I make sure she eats healthy, I try to make sure I eat healthy. So I eat a lot of chicken. I can tell you that, a lot of chicken. So when we're talking about childhood obesity, one of the most daunting challenges that young people face from a health and wellness perspective is, what good is this investment in quality education, enrichments, and exposure if there's a health ticking time bomb awaiting our young people? And I'm not pointing any fingers at all at anybody, but I think it's so sad to see young children who are very much overweight. And it sets them up not to be able to play sports, be outside. Their whole lifestyle is centered around that phone or on some type of screen. So this program has a lot of promise across this country. So they're making sure the YMCA is put together this program, and it's really getting rave reviews across the country of children and parents and family. In fact, it is required. You can't just drop your child off and say, here you go, teach them how to eat, teach them how to do this. No, parents have to be involved in the program. Parents, they actually, if I remember correctly, I think here at This Why, they're actually teaching them some how to cook foods, how to make delicious low-calorie or healthy. It's not so much about low-calorie, it's healthy. So I just wanted to mention this because I think it is something that has a big positive for the future. You know, one of the programs at the high school that they have is the culinary arts class where they learn how to cook and everything. And that's been a real positive. But do you know, when I was in the second or third grade, I think it was, we did home ec. I can remember we had a classroom that was all set up like a kitchen, and as second graders, we were learning how to cook. Well, we cooked cookies and some of those things, but you learned how to fix healthy snacks and this type of stuff. And it was just part of what you did. So I think as a society, we have got to make the commitment to our young people. And as families, we need to see our families working harder to do this. So I do know that we have this program over there at the Y. It has been a trial program to get it off the ground and to see all the things that are necessary. But it's also a program across the it is a YMCA program, and I thought it was pretty neat to see that coming together. There's a story in this on 60 Sunday morning, and they're talking about portion control and how hard portion control is, particularly if something tastes good, you just want more, right? And she says her child, every now and again, she'll catch her grabbing a measuring cup when she's making herself cereal in the morning. She'll pour it into the measuring cup and then pour it into her bowl. So isn't that exciting? Instead of taking, because you know those portions are small, right? You know, I used to watch Jim. He'd have a big bowl of cereal, and he'd pour the cereal in. He goes, there, that's one portion. And he probably had 3 portions of it. And then, of course, he liked whole milk. He wasn't going to go with 2% or anything. No, it had to be whole milk. So all the kids in this program end up knowing what they're supposed to eat. Vegetables, salad, fruit, and why. And one of the kids said in this, so I can lose weight and feel better about myself. And another child said, I can be getting more stronger, getting more athletic. And the reason that parents are involved in this program is so that when the child can do the program at the Y, but then when they go home, that they have the support system. So that's how they're dealing with this and saying it is a whole family environment. So anyways, it was a YMCA. They have a national program. What's it called again? And what's it called? I was all the way down in the article. Getting healthy, is that right? No. The YMCA's Healthy Weight and Your Child. So that program, I think, I haven't talked to the gals over there in the last few weeks, but it's been showing great signs, and it is something that I think they want to expand. But as I said, it's not just for the child. It's a family involvement. So you need the whole family involved in it in order to make it a success. But they are making inroads. And this is what it takes. It takes a support system. It takes family. So anyways, I wanted to talk about that because I think that is great. Too many times our children are just not getting what they need for health, and they don't understand why they are like they are, and we're just handing off the food. So there you go. Get healthy, America. Get healthy, Greenwood. Do it the old-fashioned way. Eat right. What goes in comes out, and the effects are amazing. So one of the things that I think is also a question, though, how much responsibility belongs to the manufacturers? How much responsibility is for the government, consumers, or parents? Are we supposed to be responsible, or is this a government responsibility? 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Somebody said this morning, as long as there are children, there will always be McDonald's. Well, that's true. But I think the problem is... the problem is, I think sometimes a nice order of French fries from McDonald's is okay, right? It's when it becomes every day and you just want, I gotta go to McDonald's, right? That's the problem. And I really think that we've got to get off this convenience kick and start doing what our parents did, making food. Yes, shopping and making food. Somebody else just said, I don't think cutting SNAP benefits and WIC is the way to get children healthy. We all know junk food is cheaper than healthy food. That's true. And that's why either growing a little bit, even if it's just tomato, cucumbers, strawberries. Just doing a small garden makes a child appreciate. But our children are like sponges, and too many times the sponge that they're getting is what's on that screen. So we've got to go back to being more, dare I say it, like our parents. Fixing food, even when you didn't always like what was fixed. Guess what you did? You ate it because you were hungry and there weren't any other choices. I tell you, one of the other things that I think is, I've been at households where, we have this food for this one and this food for that one and this food for that one. In my family, this is dinner. This is what we're eating tonight. And you always had to at least taste something. But I can never remember my mother saying, well, Bryce would like this, so I'm going to cook this for Bryce, this for y'all, and this for your dad. No, we ate one meal, and we grew up liking, or at least tolerating, what Mom fixed. And the idea of eating out was just so special. Now it's just common practice, isn't it? Just common practice. So, and one of the things that I have read, that we're actually shortening our lifestyles, and I would be curious, I don't know the answer to this, but I wonder how long our children are expected to live. With the obesity that we have in society and everything, I wonder how our children were faring for a longevity study. It's kind of funny. We used to hear this all the time. Haven't really heard that. I'll have to check that out. That could be an interesting discussion question. Ginger tea, how sweet it is. So, interesting topic. One that, this is one of those things that we're not stuck. We can actually do something about it. And I truthfully think if we would prepare more food ourselves, that people would be healthier. We wouldn't spend so much time going to doctors. We wouldn't see weight being the issue, which creates blood pressure issues and all these things in our children. So the YMCA, and here in Greenwood, that Healthy Way program that they have is a great program. Yes, it is a cost for doing it. Yes, it is a parent and child. At least one parent has to be involved. Two parents can be involved too. I mean, I don't know all the details, but I do know you have to have at least one parent involved with the child. So this is a great program. Get healthy, America. Lose weight, America. And since GPLs or GP whatever are not for children under 12, how about let's make sure our children don't get obese to begin with and start worrying about them at a younger age and make sure that they realize what they are eating. Children are amazing. They can learn so much at such an early age. All right, so that's where I'm at on that. By the way, did you know they're going to be doing away with the blue M&Ms and the brown M&Ms? Yes, the chocolate M&Ms, the cover on the chocolate is going to not be in the new M&Ms. What is it? Mars Company is trying to get rid of the dyes and everything. So one of the things they're getting rid of is blue, because they cannot make blue for M&Ms, and they cannot make brown, which is supposed to be chocolate. Please give me a break. All the other colors they can make with more healthy shells. I believe they are still going to have which way is it? I may be wrong. I think they are going to have this new version is going to be on Amazon, and the old version is still going to be in the stores. Now, eventually this is probably switch, but I just thought that was interesting. Blue and chocolate, blue and brown M&Ms are now out if you get any of the new healthier M&Ms. Okay, so here we are this morning. I think we'll take a really quick little break here. I haven't even looked in on Penny. She says, why do you talk about these topics? You talk about food. Yes. Penny has been having a great time. I got to tell you this. I have now found the way, yes I have, to wear Penny's butt out. Riding the electric bicycle and her keeping up. She is a hoot out there in the backyard. Now, I do have to be kind of careful. But she is running like a banshee, staying right up there with me. And then all of a sudden she shoots out ahead and runs all over the field. And then she comes back as we're riding around the field. Now, I'm not riding that fast out there in the field. I did happen to look down at the speedometer and see I was going 12 miles an hour, though. And Penny was still running with me. So this is what's happening. So she's sleeping very well. Yes, she's yawning right now. And she's doing good. Hey, we got matching shirts on this morning if you want to check us out. 864-332-9355. Oh, my goodness. What a yawn, Penny. 864-332-9355. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back, so don't you go away. This is WCRS Radio. The road to the revolution in the upstate. See how our county survived and thrived during revolutionary times. Excellent opportunity to see history up close at the Greenwood Museum. Many children activities, lectures, and even a kids' day at the Greenwood Museum. Stop in Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5. Experience an ever-changing exhibit at the Greenwood Museum. Remember, the Greenwood Museum, dedicated to sharing, saving, and celebrating Greenwood history. Brought to you by the museum and the Greenwood County 250 Coalition.
When you donate or shop at Pathway Thrift Store, you are helping local people from Greenwood and Abbeville overcome homelessness. Your donations help provide clothing for our residents, and all of the proceeds from everything we sell goes directly to our ministry to help us provide housing, meals, and training. Located at 1444 Main Street South, Pathway Thrift Store is open Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're always restocking our inventory, so each day is a unique shopping experience. Mention this ad at our register for a 10% discount on your next purchase.
Screens, 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 rescreens, new screens. Do you need screens? Windows or doors? Call Cross Creek Glass, 864-223-3803. Next to the hospice store, 225B North Creek Boulevard. Don't let the bugs in. Get screened at Cross Creek Glass, 864-223-3803.
Who's got the sweetest disposition?
Penny.
One guess who? Who never starts an argument? Who never shows a bit of temperament? Who's never wrong but always right? Who never dream of starting a fight? Who gets stuck with all the bad luck? No one but Donald Duck.
No, it's Penny. Penny. Penny's on the screen right now. Penny is just looking so cute. She's got her little Palmetto shirt on. I've got my Palmetto shirt on, my beach shirt. We're going to take a road trip and just go out. Look at her. She looks at me. Road trip? I'm ready. Anyways, yeah, she needs a necklace, I think. Penny needs a necklace. Do you need a necklace? I think I do. I need a pretty necklace. Yes, you do. All right. Well, let's see. What else have we got? I wanted to talk about, what else did I want to talk about here this morning? Went to see what? Indiana Jones and the, what was it? Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the very first movie in that series. And I love actually the liner notes that they tell before the movie comes on. Now that was from 1981, and come to find out, George Lucas and who else? Anyways, Star Wars was getting ready to debut. And George Lucas was not sure this movie was going to be a success. So he invited a couple of people to go to Hawaii, and they could hang out and celebrate or hide out, whichever the case may be. And well, of course, the movie became a unbelievable success. Well, then, while they were there, they were talking about another possibility, and the little short movies that used to come on before the main feature. They used to have a little short feature. Most people don't realize that anymore. But and a lot of them were like westerns, and they always left with a cliffhanger, so you'd have to come back to the movies next year to next week to be able to see all about how the conclusion went. Well, hey, Penny, you didn't get to go to the movie, did you? No, I didn't. So anyways, let me keep on with the story here. All right. So anyways, they were talking about the possibilities of another movie. And George Lucas originally considered the name Indiana Smith. And they said, "No, this just is not correct. This is not Smith correct." And they came up with the name Indiana Jones, and that started the series. So did you know that Tom Selleck was originally offered the role as Indiana Smith? Indiana Jones. Did you know that? I did not know that, but Tom Selleck was just been signed for Magnum PI, and the TV company would not let him out of the series. So that's how Harrison Ford ended up with the role. So anyways, that's a pretty cool little bit. But, you know, the thing I was thinking about is I'm watching this movie on the big screen, and to tell you the truth, I don't know how we ever wanted to compromise, why we ever wanted to compromise on seeing movies on the small screen. Even people that have big screens in their house, unless there is just nothing like seeing a movie on the big screen. Well, I know back in 1981, I don't know where my mind was, but I know back in 1981, I saw that movie. But I hardly remember any of it. So it was great to see the movie. But the other thing, when we look at movies, this is, you know, I'm always analyzing in my brain. I never can just sit there and relax and enjoy. I'm always thinking. And so I was thinking about the fact how not everything was perfect back in those movies. We had to have a sense of imagination. And today we have to have everything spelled out. There can be nothing left to the imagination, right? And if and we always have to have the why, what happened? How did she get another pair of shoes? She lost one of her shoes. I mean, you know, back in the 1980s, the 70s, the 60s, you just went with it because you just said, well, and your mind just made the assumption on how these things happen. The plane that they had flying across the continents was really campy. Today we would have had to have a real live, I don't know, whatever type of plane flying across, and they would have been showing it flying across all these continents. But then it was just a campy plane going across. And we were good with that. Isn't that what's amazing? So everything today is shown in perfect detail. Back then you had to have a sense of imagination. And I think that's a shame. What do you think? I think that's a shame that we've lost that ability to fill in the dots, right? We don't have to have, back then you did not have to have everything explained. You did not have to see a sex scene to know what was going to go on. You had your own imagination. If you've ever had sex, you knew what I was talking about. I guess maybe for those that had never had sex, maybe that's a good thing. But I'm just saying, we could leave some of these things to the imagination. And in today's world, we don't. Everything is spoken. So let's see. Stephanie said, I went to saw Grease about 2 weeks ago. That was great. I totally enjoyed that movie at the theater and could not help but sit there and think about how many of those people are already gone. You know, that's, I think, when you know you're getting old. When so many people that you, quote, looked up to, saw in the movies, saw on the news, newscasters, oh my God, musicians, groups. This is horrific. And you just go, oh my God, they're gone. And that's when it puts it in my opinion, that it puts it in perspective. Even if you do not feel old, then you must be getting old. So that goes with my philosophy that we always must live every day to the fullest and try to take advantage of everything that we can, which is part of my problem because I want to do everything, because I actually feel that time is short. I don't know how long I'll be here on this earth. I hope it's going to be for a long time, but I don't know how long it's going to be. And when you see somebody that you looked up to, maybe they were just a few years older than you were, but the big bands, the rock and roll bands, the blues, I mean, all country music, and these people are dying or they're very, very ill and will be dying. And then somebody dies totally out of like, how could Gene Shalit die? I mean, he gave movie reviews, right? He died the other day. How could this happen? He hadn't been doing it for years, but when I thought about it, when I saw his obit, I wasn't, he's not here anymore. And the two of them, who was the other guy? God, he was the bald one. He died a long time ago, but they were always a hoot on the different sides of their movie reviews. And you actually look forward to see, well, do I want to see this movie? And then you'd hear their review and you'd go, I think I want to see it, right? Oh yeah. Stephanie just said, friends don't tell friends they are old. That's true. That's true. But when you go, oh my God, I don't feel too good today. I felt bad yesterday, but today I'm feeling okay, right? It is such a story, such a story. And that's why eating healthy, being healthy, trying to take care of yourself is very, very important. If you missed, and I'm going to refer back to this because I thought it was really great conversation that we had last Wednesday with Anthony Price. You can already see it. It's on the website. It's on Facebook. Anthony Price, Executive Director of Pathway House, who is now a brain coach, talking about the fact that we don't all have to get Alzheimer's or dementia. There are ways to take care of yourself if you're willing to. And I think that's the question. Are you willing to do the things to have brain health, body health, mental health? Are you willing to do all these things? And as you get older, I've discovered it's a full-time job. That's right. So, and I'm always reading, and on my scrolling, it says scrolling. One of the things Anthony said, scrolling through on your phone is one of the worst things for your brain. Your brain needs certain things in order to be healthy. So that is why I'm saying I would love for you to go back and rewatch it, or listen to it. Either way, it is a fantastic, and maybe will get you thinking about some of the things you can do for yourself. So that's just a little aside here. All right, so brain health, being healthy, watching old movies, reminiscing about the old days, looking at the way things were and what we were satisfied with or excited about. Just like they're going to have Jaws coming up July 4th weekend. In fact, I think they're going to have a bigger premiere of it on July 4th, which is when that movie actually debuted. I believe was on July 4th. Do you remember everybody talking about it? And oh my God, and people didn't go in the ocean after seeing that movie and everything. But then, if you really think about it, it wasn't perfect, and everybody would be tearing apart. Well, did you see where this showed, or how? And they told about how they had to get. That wasn't a real Jaws. It was mechanical, but how they had to go through to try to simulate it and make it as real as they could. And today they would just use AI and animation, and boom, they would have had it. Sometimes I wonder, are we really improving life by making everything being able to be simulated? Are we really improving our lives? Or are we making our lives, what will we be able to talk, what will our young people be able to talk about when they get old? Well, we used to have to go to the movies and watch a movie. Then we watched it at home. We never left the house. Everybody's cocooning. People are not communicating. People needing people, and people didn't need each other. Anyways, those are some of the things that go through my brain. I don't know about you if you think about those things, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. Just want to mention, if you want to be in on alligator season is coming up, where they'll be giving out licenses for special permits that you can get for. Where's the article? Where is the article? Okay, where you can get your license for to be put. You pay $10 or something now, but you will eventually have to pay, what is it, $100 if you are one of, 1,400, 1,200. They only give out X amount of these permits to be able to shoot alligators. That's not coming up till September 12th. You have till the end of the month to put in to see about getting your one of the few that will be able to bag an alligator. So just something I thought I'd mention. Thought you might want to check that out. Also, in our desire to keep you informed on things, here is another little tidbit. Somebody has seen a bear in the backyard. It was on their trail cam. I saw it on Facebook as I was doing the thing I'm not supposed to do, scrolling. So that is out there. So I do want to remind you to be aware. I will tell you my little bear story. It was on the 4th of July. Penny and I were standing out there last year. We'd had all those bear sightings all around town. Penny and I were standing out in the backyard. They were doing some fireworks across down, and we were standing there watching them. Penny is not afraid of fireworks. It's totally amazing to me. But anyways, all of a sudden, out of the woods comes this animal, and I'm standing there, and it's dusky. It's not totally dark. It's dusky. And it's standing there, and it's looking at us, and we're looking at it. And I said, what is that? That's an awful big dog. And I know I've told this story before. And the dog and this animal is now coming towards us, and I said, well, that's not a coyote. It wasn't a dog. It was not a coyote. All of a sudden, that thing takes off. Another firework exploded. That thing take off. It's coming right at us. It is a bear, folks, running at full speed. I had Penny on a leash. I was standing there. There was no place I was going to get to, and they always say, don't turn and run. So I just started yelling at it, you better get out of here, bear. The bear took one look at this crazy woman standing out there and said, yes, ma'am, I'm going back in the woods. It's safe in the woods, man. And that's my bear sighting story right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. That was a year ago on the 4th. Somebody has seen one on a trail cam here in Greenwood. I don't even know where exactly it was, but it is in our area. So be careful out there. Make sure you're taking precautions. Don't leave trash and stuff like that the bears can get into. Haven't heard anything else. If you know any bear stories, please share them with me, 864-332-9355, or post a comment on our Facebook Live. That's right, WCRS Radio. Well, this morning we've talked about voting, health, families, movies. We've had a good time covering all these topics. I hope you have enjoyed the show. One of the things I really want to tell you is that last week we drew our third, I think it's our third lunch for a bunch, and it is American Legion Post 20. They will be having a delicious breakfast. I believe it's the executive committee, which is a smaller group than the whole American Legion. They work very hard at putting together activities and being involved in our community. And so we are delighted that Chick-fil-A has going to be taking them a breakfast for a bunch. We love getting your stories about groups that you think deserve breakfast. So, and any group is possible. We are not limiting it to any particular genre or type or anything. If you know a group that you believe is doing good things, works hard, brings a service, whether it's a business, a nonprofit, some group, please let us know. We'd love to surprise them and delight them with breakfast for a bunch. How do you do that? All you got to do is call or text 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. Do it today. We're going to be drawing another one the end of this week. So please, 864-332-9355. It'll do your heart good, and you know what? It'll do that group that you pick a whole lot of good because it's delicious, it's delightful, and just a bit surprising. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Penny's saying, Ann, you've talked enough. Let's go have breakfast and get outside and see what's going on in the world. We're going to do it. I hope you get outside before it gets too warm today. That's going to do it for us. Drop the curtain, da-da-da, cue the music, and we are going to say adieu. Have a great day. See you in the morning. Bye-bye, everybody. Don't forget, tomorrow's voting day. Get out and vote. Make your voice heard. It's a privilege to do. Please do it for our country.